operating system do? Well, in the last video I showed you the different operating systems and sort of how they look. I really didn't go into them in much detail and probably won't go in too much detail as we go along because they're huge things. However, they all perform the similar kind of tasks, so I'm going to go through what they are. The first one is to interact with the human operating the computer. That's you. And it does that, as I've said, through a set of icons that you can double click to run a program. So if I double click on this one, Hex Editor Neo, it runs that program and we can shut that program down. These are called Windows, which is why Windows is called Windows. And Windows is the main graphical user interface of both Windows itself and of a Mac. So Mac has Windows just the same. So if I go and open up, let's say, my Photos album, it opens up in a series of windows, just the same. The difference between a Mac and Windows, in the right hand side of the window is the close box, but on a Mac in the left hand side is the close box. So let's close that down and let's close that down. So we've got icons which help us start programs. That's useful because we don't need to remember the commands. We could use a command to start the program, but that requires you having a lot of knowledge. So not too sure if we can manage this. Let's go to the command window. Let's see if there's a program that I can find. Not here. Maybe if I go CD Delphi and have a look for something called an executable file, something that you learned about last time. An executable file only contains the machine code, and that's what I'm looking for down here, is a .exe file that I could actually run to make my program work. And I can't seem to see one down here. So I think in here where it says bin, it doesn't mean it is the bin. That bin stands for binaries. So if I go inside there, I'll probably find the executable to make the program work. So if I do cd bin for binary, meaning the executables, have a look inside there. Now I'm beginning to see .exe or executable files. And if I see if I can find the one that actually starts this up, and I think it might be this one, Delphi32.exe. So if I type that on the command line, Delphi32.exe, and I can run my program. So I actually ran that from the command line. Now the problem with that is that I needed to know lots of commands. Let's do exactly the same thing from the graphical user interface. All I need to do is find the start bar, look in all programs, find Ball and Delphi, and then click on Delphi 7. It runs exactly the same program. So the graphical user interface is there to make life simpler. You don't have to remember thousands of commands. Now the Mac is exactly the same. You can start programs from the command line as well as just double clicking them. I'm going to show you now that another feature of the operating system is that it's got thousands of programs running in the background. You don't know they're there. They're tools, which we will deal with a little bit later. But if I start up Task Manager in Windows, I get this, and the small programs that run in the background are called processes. So if I click on processes, it has all of these, and you can see each and every single one's got a .exe at the end of its name. This only applies in Windows. It does not apply to a Mac. There is no such .exe extension in a Mac. But all these are programs that are running in the background, maintaining my computer. So if I press a key, there's a program there to process that. If I start up a web page, there is a process to control that. So all of these are running in the background. So it's not just Windows, one program. There could be thousands of small programs running at the same time, and they're all in memory, and it's telling me here how big they are in memory. We've got the same situation in a Mac. It's a little bit different the way it looks. So if I come down to this, it's called the activity monitor, but basically it's exactly the same. It is telling me all the programs that are running in the background on my Mac. So all of these programs that you're seeing here help the Mac operating system to work. Without them, nothing would happen. So the same for Mac and PC. They've got lots of tasks running in the background, and we will look at tasks in a little while. The other thing that an operating system is used for is to manage the file system, so that you don't have to. So when you save a file, you don't have to say where it goes or how it goes on the disk, or which disk basically, or how your disk is structured. It does all of that for you. All you're interested in is saving a file, and you can look on your disk and you can see all the folders and files that have been saved for you, and all of this is managed by your operating system. And what we're looking at inside here are all the files and folders of the Windows operating system to make it work. As you can see, there are a lot. The Mac has the same sort of thing. It has a file system. It's called Finder. And again, we can look in all the applications that are available to the Mac. And again, as you can see, there are a lot of applications. Although this isn't necessarily looking at the actual Mac's system files, rather like Windows. Now we are. So we are now looking at things like the drivers and the driver extensions. This is the system, the Mac system. And again, you can see loads and loads of folders, and inside these folders there are well, here we've got some printers that it's got the programs already sort of worked out for them, so that at some point the operating system knows how to deal with a Canon printer. So they're the system files. And talking about printers, that's the next thing that an operating system can do. It has all of these programs that can talk to things like keyboards, scanners, printers, mice, external hard drives. All of those are called peripherals, and each one of those needs to talk to the computer. You plug it in, and then the computer needs to know how to talk to that device. So if you've got a printer, generally if you plug it in, you will need something called a driver, and maybe we saw drivers earlier up here. A driver is a small piece of machine code that lets the computer talk to your peripheral. And in there I don't have any drivers on, but there's plenty of drivers working. And again, we probably find the same in Windows. We'd have a folder full of all the drivers of all the small pieces of software that come with your printer, or come with your mouse, that make it work with the computer. So quickly, an operating system talks to the user, There's two ways of doing it, graphically or by command line. The command line is an expert way of doing it. The graphical user interface is to take all the pain of having to remember all the commands out. It runs tasks. There are lots of programs already running. You haven't started them up. They start automatically when your computer starts up, but they're necessary to make your computer work. So they'll control how it talks to the Wi-Fi, how it talks to the network, what's displayed on the screen, how it takes commands from the keyboard. Then you've got a file management system that saves you thinking about how to write your ones and zeros, your binary, onto the disks, or how they should be set up. And in different computers or different operating systems, that is very, very different. But all that is managed by your computer as part of the operating system. And then talking to peripherals, devices such as printers, mice, etc. That again is a function of your operating system. Your operating system is also there to manage the security, make sure you don't get things wrong, log you in. It does everything. It does all the administration work that you need.